He boarded quietly. Just a black man in a navy hoodie. No entourage, no gold watch, nothing that suggested he built an empire from the concrete up. Marcus Hale, 34, billionaire tech mogul, slid into 2A and opened his laptop like he didn't just own half of Silicon Valley. Turbulence wasn't in the sky yet. It sat in the cabin before takeoff. A flight attendant with a stiff smile hovered over him, eyes narrowing at his ticket as though wealth must look like a suit. "Sir, this section is first class," she said slowly, carefully pronouncing each word like instruction to a child. Marcus kept typing. He'd been here before, in boardrooms where they assumed he was an intern, in restaurants where they handed him valet keys. The attendant leaned closer. "I'll need proof you belong here." Conversations froze. A businessman 2 seats over smirked, as if the scene confirmed something he'd always believed. Marcus lifted his gaze, calm, unshaken. "Here's my ticket." She barely glanced at it before shaking her head. "This flight is oversold. We're moving you to economy." She said it publicly, loudly enough for everyone to hear judgment echo. They watched him stand, waiting for anger or pleading. Instead, Marcus said something that turned the entire plane into a theater of silence. "Bring me your supervisor and your company's financial officer." Confusion rippled. Why a financial officer mid-flight? What did he plan? Nobody knew, but every passenger leaned closer, hooked, sensing something massive about to unfold. They had no idea they weren't just witnessing discrimination. They were witnessing history. Minutes later, in a cramped galley at 30,000 feet, Marcus sat across from the flight manager and senior operations officer, rerouted from another seat. He pulled up a live financial report, numbers collapsing in red. "Your airline is bleeding money," he said, voice low, controlled. "Tomorrow's earnings call will sink stock value by half." The officers paled. He wasn't guessing. He knew. "I'm offering to buy controlling stake today, mid-flight." The attendants gasped. The same woman who tried to downgrade him stared as if gravity had inverted. Marcus continued, "You move me to economy, you lose your future. I buy this airline, I save it." Tension snapped like storm winds against metal. Papers were brought, screens were shared, signatures hovered. The transaction became a negotiation suspended above clouds, more dramatic than turbulence could dream of being. When they demanded proof of funds, Marcus gave a quiet smile, one sentence flipping power like a coin. "I could buy this aircraft twice before we land." Moments later, deals clicked into place. Ownership transferred. At 30,000 feet, without a boardroom, without a suit, he became the airline's majority owner. Passengers who questioned him now watched in stunned silence, realizing the man they thought didn't belong now owned the sky they flew through. The attendant collapsed into apology, but Marcus only nodded, composed. "Teach your staff to see people, not assumptions," he said, "because one day the person you disrespect may be the one keeping your paychecks alive." First-class passengers stared downward, guilt like gravity. But the story wasn't over. When they landed, Marcus didn't fire staff. He didn't retaliate. Instead, he met employees trembling over rumors of layoffs and stunned them. He saved all 200 jobs. He expanded diversity training, raised wages, and promoted the very attendant who had wronged him only after she completed empathy certification. Not revenge, redemption. The airline rebounded. Profits surged. Employees called him the CEO who turned humiliation into humanity. Marcus stood before cameras months later, not to brag, but to remind the world what respect looks like under pressure. "Power isn't proven by how loud you respond. It's proven by how well you lift others," he said. Passengers from that flight still tell the story, voices low like recounting a miracle. They remember the Black Mogul who walked on board as a passenger and walked off owning the sky. They remember the moment bias met brilliance and brilliance won without bitterness. They remember how one man changed an entire airline mid-flight simply because someone believed he didn't belong in first class. A lesson stitched across every mile flown since. Never judge a seat by the person sitting in it, because someday they might own the plane, the company, and the future you depend on. If this story hit something inside you, don't just scroll away. Sit with it. Let it challenge you. Because what happened to Marcus happens to thousands every single day. People with talent, power, vision are dismissed based on appearance rather than value. A seat, a title, a moment, all questioned because of skin, clothing, or stereotype. And maybe you've lived that pain, or maybe you've been the one who doubted someone without knowing them. Either way, change starts with awareness, reflection, and conversation. So take a second, comment your thoughts. Tell us how this story made you feel. Have you ever been underestimated? Have you ever seen someone's greatness overlooked before it revealed itself? Your story matters. Your voice matters. Every comment becomes part of a movement bigger than one video. Share this video too. Not for views, for visibility. Someone out there needs to hear this. Someone needs to rethink the assumptions they carry. Someone needs proof that dignity can win louder than anger. And if you want more powerful stories like this, more lessons wrapped in suspense, emotion, and truth, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This channel exists to highlight injustice, celebrate resilience, and spark real change. Every view, every click, every comment amplifies that mission. Let's make these stories impossible to ignore. Let's build a community that sees people fully, fairly, deeply. Stay with us. Engage, reflect, share. Because the sky isn't owned by those who judge. It's owned by those who rise.